as you obviously saw from the title, we are doing fandom DIYs. So I'm going to be doing things from Avatar. Such an amazing series, highly recommend if you haven't watched it. Doing things from Wheel of Time, epic book series, highly recommend you read it, and Percy Jackson. Not the movies Percy Jackson, mind, the books. Not the movies. Okay, I really hope you enjoy.
First up, we have Camp Half-Blood necklaces from Percy Jackson. The first thing to do is to paint the beads for your necklace. Now, they obviously need to be wooden beads because that's how they are described in the book. There are many ways you can go about this. You could paint the symbols on the beads exactly the same as the symbols that they tell you in the book, so it's very authentic as if you went to Camp Half-Blood at the time that Percy Jackson and all the other characters were there. Or you can paint your own symbols on them and paint whatever you like. So that's what I did. Now obviously you can do as many beads as you want, however many years you want to be or want to have been at Camp Half-Blood. Now I was thinking this is a really cool gift to give a friend, and then every year you give your friend another bead to symbolize another year of being friends. I just personally think that's really cool. I can't tell you how difficult it is to paint on those beads. They are tiny, and I have zero skill at painting fine. So this was very difficult, and my painting skills are not like amazing, so they didn't turn out like absolutely insane, but they are pretty cool. So once you have finished painting your beads with whatever symbols catch your fancy, I'm stringing it on the cord. So I'm doing a 4-strand round cord, and I showed you how to make this how to braid this in my last video, which I'll link down below if you are interested. So you just thread it on the cord. I added this little claspy thing and loopy thing at the end of my cords so that it could fasten nicely behind my neck.
Yes, seaweed brain.
According to my necklace, I have been at Camp Half-Blood for 8 years, so I am a seasoned member. Yes, and I'm not dead. Fun fact, I would be a child of Apollo, just if you were wondering. Your necklace would probably be more authentic than my one if you didn't use white wooden beads, but those were the only beads I had on hand that were the right size, so that's what I used. This is me trying to be a half-blood and fight with a skirt on. As you can tell, it's not very impressive. Probably down on my first day. But we all know that Karana is obviously the star of the show here. She would be the perfect half-blood. She's very vicious and dangerous and can certainly look after herself, and the necklace looks fabulous on her. Next up is a Snakes and Foxes board from Wheel of Time. To start off, you need to make a template out of cardboard. So basically just a circle of cardboard. And literally it can be as big or as small or as whatever size you want to make it. Just preferably not too tiny because that'd be very difficult. So we started sorting through scrap fabric. Now you can just use big pieces of fabric if you want to, but we thought it would look really cool if we made a whole patchwork thingy-mabobby. So that's what we did. So basically you'll just need 2 squares of fabric, or 2 pieces of fabric. Now as I said, you can cut this out of just plain fabric, or you can make a whole patchwork shenanigan thingy-mabobbies, which is what we did. Gosh though, the headache of trying to choose a color theme and if you should go all wild with all the colors or what sort of theme you should have. So for mine, I did sort of all the colors except for blues. I didn't want any blues, purples or pinks. And then for Teo's, she did all the colors except for like reds and oranges. that was the colour themes that we personally chose.
It's not gonna work.
Because we did a whole patchwork thingy-mabobby, we ironed it down so that our pieces were flat. Mind you, I would recommend ironing it anyway, even if you're not doing a patchwork. And then you trim the edges. If you're not doing the whole patchwork thing, this is basically where you start. Once you've got your 2 pieces of fabric, you cut 2 circles out of it. Lay them face to face and sew a line around the edge, but leave a small gap so you can turn it inside out. When choosing what fabric you want to use, I would recommend one of your pieces being quite light coloured so that you can draw the board on it and it stands out, and then the other piece can be whatever coloured. We went for quite a dark colour. Once you have sewn the straight stitch, you need to trim it again because I can't sew straight, so obviously. And yes, can I just say, my board is not perfectly circular. Even though I did use a perfectly circular template, it's a bit wonky, and that is because, as I said, I cannot sew straight. But if you have more skills at sewing straight, then you can have a perfectly round board. Then you turn it inside out, and at this point it looks a lot like a pillow. So if you decide all of a sudden that you don't want a board game anymore, voila, you've just made yourself a pillow. You just need to stuff it. But if you still want to make the board game, lay it flat and pin the edges down, and then just do a simple straight stitch along the top to make sure that it stays flat. Then we got various different round objects to make the circles of the board, because the protractor doesn't go wide enough to get the super large circles. And then when I got small enough to use the protractor, I realized something. The little thing where you put the pencil in to make the circle, well, it's too small for my fabric pen, so I can use the protractor. Isn't that fun? So I had to sketch out the smaller circles and then go with pencil and then go over it with the fabric marker. And for the bigger circles, I used like a table mat, pans, pots, lids, anything that was the right size. You will need to draw 8 circles, and then there needs to be 16 lines. But I'll link a video down below that really describes exactly the layout and how to set up and play the game itself, because if I described that and told you how to do that now in this game, it would take forever. So yeah. So once all the circles and the lines were drawn out, you can write the poem around the edges, which is what I did. And the poem for Snakes and Foxes is obviously courage to strengthen, fire to blind, music to dazzle, and iron to bind. So I wrote that around the edges, and then I drew the little snakes and foxes symbol. So now, if you are wondering why Teo's one isn't being shown being done, well, you see, when I was finishing up sewing my one, I broke the needle. The last needle. We didn't have another one. So she couldn't finish her sewing because I am an idiot, and I am greatly sorry, Teo. However, here are some photos of how hers turned out that she just sent to me. So this is how my one turned out. It looks pretty dang cool, might I just say. Now, for the pieces itself, I used pieces of gravel for the snakes, buttons for the foxes, and charms for the players. Now, you can play snakes or foxes by yourself or with 2 people. And can I just tell you, what you see me doing here is playing by myself, and I'm using these homemade wooden dice. And I was so frustrated because I kept winning every single time. I was like, no, this can't be right. You're not supposed to be able to win snakes and foxes, and I've won 3 times in a row. So I switched to actually proper dice, not homemade dice, and wow, can I just tell you, you can not win. No joke. I played so many times and I cannot win. I never came close to winning. It is truly an impossible game, but it's a lot of fun, so I'd highly recommend making it. It is honestly flaming impossible to win. Avatar time! Whoop whoop! Okay, so for my first avatar DIY, I am making a Jasmine dragon sign. For this you will need a piece of wood, a drill, and paint and pens and whatever you want to use to actually make the sign itself. The first thing I did was sketch out the design of the dragon, the Jasmine, and the name. I'll leave the photo I used as a reference down below. Once I had my base all sketched out, I started to paint. I don't know about anyone else, but in winter I literally drink 8 to 10 cups of tea a day, and I personally think that Uncle Iroh would be very proud of me. So for my sign I painted the dragon, the jasmine flower, and the words Jasmine Dragon.
If you're heading for the coast, hearing voices up ahead you, who am I to let you go? You're a wrecking ball. Can you kiss me slowly? We can turn the headlights off. All our friends and all their voices.
Once your beautiful illustration painting thing is all done and you've written the words, then with your drill 2 little holes on either sides and string a string into them. Now I threaded the string from the back to the front and then tied it. This way it hangs evenly and doesn't slant backwards or forward.
Tigers on trains, watching you go. Head in the glass, fog in the window.
I hung our little one above our tea cupboard because since we can't actually go to the Jasmine Dragon in real life, I might as well make my own little Jasmine Dragon tea shop at home. And it was actually really just perfect because our tea cupboard just so happened to be painted green. So just like, destiny, This is a happy customer of the Jasmine Dragon drinking a cup of nice jasmine tea. Doesn't the hairstyle just look like Suki?
All your memories through a broken Telecaster.
The last DIY I did was I used the leftover paint I had from the Jasmine Dragon sign and I didn't want to waste it, so I decided to paint on my table. So I first sketched out the outline of the 4 element symbols from Avatar and then went over them with paint. I have a question. What would you bend if you could bend an element? I would be an air nomad, even though the style of the Earth Kingdom is just so fantastic. Maybe one day I'll make a costume. That'd be fun.
Don't you see the family resemblance? I'll give you a hint. I must capture the Avatar and gain my honor.
Tigers on trains, watching you go. Head in the glass, fog in.
If you're interested in more Fandom DIY videos, let me know. I would be more than happy to oblige. I love fandoms and I have plenty more DIYs from different fandoms I could do. And for a bonus DIY thingy-mabobby, go check out last week's video. I painted a fandom inspired water bottle.
I hope. This is so uncomfortable, oh my god. That's better. I hope you enjoyed the video, because I feel like if one can't live in these amazing worlds such as, well, because I feel like if one can't live in, well, the world of Half-Bloods, of Wheel of Time, of Avatar, you just have to try and make your world slightly more like this. Now for the time of the shameless self-promotion. I make DIY and creative videos, so if that sounds at all interesting, please subscribe and give the videos a thumbs up if you enjoyed. I can't believe I just did that. Messed up. Okay. See you next week. Bye!